Good evening, guys. It's 8:30 and it's Monday. Happy New Year to everyone out there. We are doing a preview show for Bournemouth versus Man United. I'm joined by Andy and Craig from Bournemouth Fan Channel. Welcome to the Man United Agenda. Myself and Andy, quite happy today, aren't we, Andy? It's been a result in this top four race that's really sort of made us skin some teeth. Talk to me, Andy. How are you feeling after that?
I'm buzzing. I know we've been spanked, and basically Brentford are not to be messed with. They've proved their worth this season. They've beaten City, they've beaten us, and now they've beaten Liverpool. So it's a good night. It's a nice Monday night to be chilling and just enjoying the downfall. And Darwin Núñez, oh God, miss it a season. From what I've not seen it, I've just seen a still shot. So
bad news for Liverpool.
Scousers on meltdown on YouTube. It was brilliant and TikTok.
I mean, at the top of the table, 7 doesn't fit into 4, and we're all fighting for this top 4 space at the moment. So these results over the last couple of days, Spurs as well, really benefited Man United at the moment. Big up to Craig. How are you doing, Craig? Welcome, and tell us about your YouTube channel, please.
Of course, yeah. Thank you so much for having me, guys. So I run the YouTube channel called UTCIAD, stands for Up the Cherries in All Departments. So what we specialise in doing is bringing on special guests. Got opposition preview shows, lots and lots of different content. And it's a good channel to watch if you want to find out, and I'm sure we'll cover this on Monday, the rags to riches story of AFC Bournemouth, because let's be fair, if you go back prior to 2008, it's a story of real struggle, real difficulties, the club nearly going bust on multiple occasions, selling the stadium. It's quite dire, apart from a little nice period in the late 80s, early 90s, which we had under a certain Harry Redknapp.
Yeah. Guys, we're going to go into that. Let's just say hello to everyone. You remember that, Andy? The FA Cup.
84.
Yeah, terrible. I remember that.
When you're 9 years old, it really hurts when you lose your FA Cup to Bournemouth. You know what I mean?
Thankfully, it wasn't televised.
Yeah, and then in 1985, we that was the reverse, and we beat Bournemouth 3-0. That was on the way to Wembley. And I do remember Bournemouth coming back from 3-0 down against City in 89.
Mm-hmm.
I just remember that because it was at Main Road. City thought they were promoted. Bournemouth scored 3 goals in the last 10 minutes, and there's like 8 minutes injury time.
Wow.
Remember, you remember games like that?
Yeah.
But that's the game to put Redknapp on the map, I suppose, as a manager. I mean, come beat Manchester United in the FA Cup, even in 84, that's massive. Anyway, I just want to talk about our sponsor, because our sponsor also lives in Bournemouth. His name is Adam, and he runs a company called GMS, which is Global Mapping Surveys, guys. So you might ask what they do. They assist architects, property developers and construction companies all over the country, and they offer a wide range of services such as setting out topographical surveys, 3D laser scanning, and monitoring. And check out the link, guys, in the description. That's GMS Global Mapping Surveys. All right, let's just say hello to a few guys. We've got a Liverpool fan, Ola Kunle, in the house. He's saying, evening, chaps. Yes, we lost this evening. I'm watching LFC Day Trippers watch on playback. I want to say hi to Stumpy Candletop. He said, Happy New Year. Liverpool lost. They certainly did. HD Gamer here as well. So in Bournemouth tomorrow, FA Cup versus Everton on Friday. Wouldn't mind winning that lovely FA Cup trophy. He's saying, big up to Matthew Bassett, our brother friend who's here on Friday nights as well. He's saying, where's Barton Olakunle, the Chelsea, Liverpool fans. Vincent's in the house as well. How you doing, Vincent? We've read that one already. I want to say hi as well to Adil Ahmed. He's a Bournemouth fan. How you doing, Adil? Have you come with Craig? Welcome to the Man United Agenda. Tyrone Williams in the house. Happy New Year, saying. Zoe as well, Media House. Evening all, she says. Matthew's here as well. Said Eric Ten Hag has said era has come to an end. Liverpool is done. And didn't someone else say that? Fergie say that he's going to overtake Liverpool. And next week we're facing Man City as well. For the time went fast. Oh dear. And Vincent saying here, GMs could be our new shirt sponsor. No, the visit Saudi Arabia has gone boobsies up. I don't know about that. But anyway, let's get into this. We're playing Bournemouth. Craig, we just talk about Brentford, how they've made themselves sustainable in the league. New stadium. I live in West London, quite near to them. New stadium. They've got a different philosophy. They don't have a youth team. They've got a B team. There's different ways. You look at Wolves. You look at Burnley. All these clubs are finding ways, with Bs as well, beginning with B. They find a way to make themselves sustainable in the Prem. What is it that made you so good staying in the Prem when you were last in it under Mr. Howe, Eddie Howe? I mean, what was your formula there? And just before we go into that, let's go back to the final day when you were in administration. You got a 10-point drop, and Eddie Howe comes in, 31-year-old coach, former player as well, and he saves your season. And then from 2009 to 2014, you worked your way up the leagues. And were you part of this? Were you a real loyal fan then? Were you following the journey?
Oh, I tell you what. In fact, it was a little bit worse than that. We was on the -17. League Two, we were really struggling, and we were. The season started under Kevin Bond, and I think he did all right in previous seasons, but suddenly the board decided to appoint a gentleman called Jimmy Quinn, and Jimmy Quinn was absolutely terrible. If anybody remembers it, we got beat by Blythe Spartans in the FA Cup, and they needed to do something. If we had stuck by Jimmy Quinn, we would have been going out of the league. There's quite a famous clip actually on YouTube, which is where Gerald Krasner, who was also involved in Leeds and their administration, asked a question of Jeff Mostyn, and it was either a nod, and he would put in 100,000, I believe it was at the time. If he shook his head, then he would liquidate the club there and then. And that is the rags to riches story that we have come from. Of course, they gave the opportunity to Eddie. He took it with both hands. He bought back, in fact, Mark Mosley was our first signing, but he bought back Steve Fletcher. Steve Fletcher was a legend already at this club for what he had done. He scored in the Lincoln playoff final years ago. That was back in 2003. Played in the Auto Windscreens Trophy final as well. Massive game, but back in '98. And he was the one that scored that goal against Grimsby to keep this club up. We were still under an embargo the following season. Eddie managed to get us promoted to League One. He left to go to Burnley. Lee Bradbury and Fletch took over. Did all right, got us into the playoffs, where we eventually went out in the semi-final to Huddersfield. And then we appointed Paul Groves. And to be fair, this was quite a good thing, even though at the time it was atrocious, because Paul Groves struggled. And he was a decent man. He's a footballing man. He's talked a good game. Was he a manager? I don't think he was. We was in the relegation zone, and the hint was there that Eddie wanted to come back. And it's to be honest, I would suggest anybody who wants to know this story goes to watch the Eddie Mitchell interview. So Eddie Mitchell was one of our previous owners.
Right.
And that is a really interesting story about how Eddie refused to come back at one point. There was the hint that he'd love to come back, but the money wasn't there. And a gentleman called John Yems then helped persuade him. And it's a really, really interesting story about how it all worked out in the end. And then
so what's the interview? Just repeat that again to go and watch.
It is the Eddie Mitchell interview on the channel. I would also suggest watching the Trevor Watkins interview as well, because those two really saved the club, along with Jeff Mostyn, and put it on financial footing. Eddie Mitchell, remember, was the man who bought in Maxim Denim, literally over a meal at a very nice, swanky restaurant down at Sandbanks, and encouraged Maxim to get involved. Maxim got involved and funded our way up the leagues. To the
So
position
you're
we
in the
are now.
championship now. You've moved up all the way. Just Andy, you're hearing this story, Andy. You go to a lot of non-league games and lower club games. What does this ring a bell with you? The story of how Bournemouth have made it and being on the cusp of going into like administration and all that. Have you heard this story before with other clubs?
I've seen it with Oldham Athletic
Yeah.
over the years. Oldham, Joe Royal took him to the Premier League. Is it 91, 92? I mean, I had a soft spot for Oldham as well. I still do today. But United's my club. But Oldham went from rags to riches. And unfortunately, they're struggling at the bottom of the conference now. And they're looking at going into the Conference North. And that is only a division above FC United.
Wow.
Which is frightening. Wow. And I know what a rags to riches story is. I mean, in my time, it was Wimbledon.
Yeah.
Wimbledon came from all the way up, promotion, all the way up. Won the FA Cup in 88, stopping Liverpool, doing a double. So it's a rags to riches football story. It can happen to anybody. And it's happened to Bournemouth. It's happened to Wimbledon. It can happen to anybody with the right attitude. Look at Leicester. On the last day of the season, they could have gone down to the third division.
Yeah.
Stayed up, got promoted the following season, couple of years down the line. Was it 2 years that won the Premier League?
Yeah. Crazy, isn't it, this football game? Just going to go through a few comments here. Adil saying, Man United versus City next week. As a United fan, what a win that would be. Zoe saying, did Michael B. Jordan, he's an actor, isn't he? Creed. Did he buy Bournemouth or something? Do you want to just answer that quickly?
Yeah, so this really expands on the story of... so, of course, we was relegated from the Premier League under Eddie Howe. Just going back to a little bit, because what Eddie had done was he invested in the youth. He made sensible, astute signings, but also developed. And a good example, if you want to see one now, here and now, that he's done at Newcastle, is Joe Linton. Joe Linton under Steve Bruce was poor, but since Eddie Howe has changed the position, he's completely revitalized the player. And that's what he did for this football club. He got these players like Steve Cook, Simon Francis, Charlie Daniels, all these players who were journeymen or players. Mark Pugh's another one. And Mark Pugh is a fantastic example because he was signed from Hereford. He was there right at the League Two days. And he transformed these players into something that we didn't realize they could be at the time. And just going back to, the question there. So, of course, we was relegated, come back up. I believe that Bill Foley was interested in buying the football club last season, but didn't want to buy a championship side. Since we've now been promoted, Bill Foley's acted upon that. Maxim Denim, our previous owner, was a very quiet, reserved man. You would see him every now and again. Oh, he's great. The night we went up to the Premier League the first time round in 2015, he got very, very drunk. And, it's just great to see.
One night.
I don't blame him one bit for doing that. We was all a bit drunk that night. But, of course, Bill Foley has come in and, he's bought the club for 120 million. But also he has got Michael B. Jordan's backing and somebody who probably goes under the radar a little bit. And he's actually connected to somebody Man United fans will actually know, is a gentleman called Nulasaka. He's part of Cosmos Group, who is actually owned, and their managing director is Gerald Piqué.
Oh, okay.
So they own as well FC Andorra in the Spanish leagues. If you look at the rise of FC Andorra, in fact, Michael B. Jordan, it's really exciting to have Creed there, but Nulla Saka and having Cosmos behind us as well, I'm actually thinking that's even a bigger part to play because of what he's done with this club in Spain, which isn't easy. And to be honest, it was a bit of a nothing club. It's exciting times here. It really is.
I'm going to go through a few comments quickly, just to throw in bring the crowds. We've got Stacey Bloomer. How you doing, Stacey? Give her a wave, guys. She's saying, can't wait for a cracking game tomorrow. Good luck to both teams. We got Box saying, I remember Max Gradle in the League 2 for Bournemouth. Yeah, it was a good win, wasn't it? Robbie Norman saying, Happy New Year to the guys. HG Gamer saying, no disrespect to Bournemouth, but we should win 3-4-0. Rich Sports, how you doing? Big up Rich Sports. Go and check out his channel. My preseason relegation picks were Bournemouth, Forest and Southampton, South Coast teams. Rich is saying, what do Bournemouth fans think of Scott Parker's new job? We come on to that. Box is saying, Darren Anton was in League 2 with Bournemouth.
Yep.
Wow, thick note. Romano said some interesting things about Man United earlier on. Hopefully we get into that a bit later. Great job for Parker, Rich. This is his new job, apparently. So Zoe's saying here, Scott Parker's new job in La Liga Fair Play. He's shown he has a brain. More British managers should think about going abroad. That's a good shout there. Paul Tierney saying, looking through the Bournemouth squad, they have two of United's former players. I know one is Ben Pearson, is it? Ben Pearson. And Tate Game is saying, did Eddie Howe take Bournemouth from League One to the Premier League? Which kind of answered that just now. Tyrone's talking about Michael B. Jordan having smaller shares in Bournemouth. So there's a lot of insight here. And Craig's definitely giving us a lowdown on the club. Just quickly, Craig. So just, Brett, we're going to go on to the other section here. What makes Bournemouth now sustainable? What is the way going forward? Is it all... you talked about your investors and that kind of thing, but are you confident that even if you go down this year, you're going to be sustainable and be thereabouts around bobbing up and down with the Premiership?
Well, Bill Foley's recent interview he said, we're not going to get relegated. Very, very bold statement. It is believed, and there's a lot of rumours mixing about, but it's believed that we're going to have about 78 million to spend in this transfer window, which is ridiculous for a club our size.
Dirty.
Scott Parker, and the reason he was sacked, of course, he made those comments after that Liverpool defeat. We definitely owe them one when we play them later on in the season at Dean Court. I think one thing that he pointed out was that he didn't get the investment. He wanted more investment into the side. With Bournemouth, we're not that sort of club. Now Bill Foley's taken over, I think that's going to be more sustainable. The players at the moment, I think they're good enough. I think they could certainly keep us above the dreaded red line. But I think that what he will do is he will invest, but invest sensibly. Gary O'Neill's got the job. It's his first job in management. It's a big job to ask him to do. Is he safe? That I was on Talk TV yesterday, and that was a question that was asked to me by Ray Houghton and Mark Saggers, and my honest answer is no. To be honest, I don't think he is safe. However, I'd love him to be, because I think I've met Gary on occasion as well, spent quite a bit of time with him, and he's very, very particular. He'll be looking at Manchester United and all the games so far, where the frailties are, where the Man United's strengths are, how we're going to combat that. I think even though some of the fan base think, no, we shouldn't keep, we should go for a bigger name, I think he's a big benefit to us, and I think he's a real strength. I think the team we've got as well, especially the youngsters, Jayden Anthony and Jordan Zamora. Jordan Zamora, I would be shocked if he doesn't go to a top 6 club in the next 3 seasons. He's that good.
Yeah.
But the thing is with Jordan Zamora is he's best friends with Jayden Anthony, and they play so well together. So I think you'd have to take both of them, because without Jordan Zamora, Jayden Anthony's half the player, and vice versa.
They're attached at the hip, basically.
Oh, they are. They
metaphorically.
Yeah, they're absolutely lovely guys, and they are quality players. Those two signing new contracts would be a massive, massive coup for us, and we just really hope that they do that. Um, Bill Foley will sign players. He will, he is determined, and I think we can establish ourselves in this division.
Andy, do you have any players for him? They got 78 million. Do you want to offload any of these Man United players?
I remember what you call it. Do you think Dean Court should be a little bit bigger? It's one of the smallest grounds in the 12,000, 15,000 capacity. Maybe you need a little bit more just to get. If you want new fans to come in, you're gonna have a bigger ground, 20,000 at least.
Oh, crikey, yeah. And this was one of the discussions I was having. I was lucky enough to meet people around. Didn't meet Bill and didn't meet Michael B. Jordan, although I would have loved to have done. But one thing I did speak to the guys who are connected with them about was the stadium, and they are looking at all eventualities. They were spending some time having a look at the ground and the perimeter, what can be done with that. I'd love to stay at Dean Court, but I don't think it's going to happen, because what they will do, in my eyes, is build a stadium which can be used for concerts and have a hotel, maybe food outlets where they can charge money. Yes, they'll probably go down the Brentford model. Brentford, Milton Keynes, Reading, that sort of model. I think.
Do you have the fan base though, Craig? Have you got you're filling 17,000, is it, or 13,000? Sorry. Do you have the fan base? What sort of size stadium do you reckon you could fill out?
So at the moment, the stadium is around about the 11,000 mark.
Oh, God, it's less than 13. I was bigging you up.
Yeah, I thought it's 15.
But,
wow.
The Dean Court, and from speaking to people at the club, we could get it up to 15,000, but that's not big enough, and we'll far outgrow that. We could fill a bigger stadium. I think, there is a big demand for season tickets at the club as it stands at the moment. I would say probably a sensible figure would be around about 25,000 for a new stadium, which could be expanded. But what you've got to look at as well is the catchment area. So, of course, we've got Bournemouth, Poole, Christchurch. Southampton are the closest other club to us. But we've also got the whole of Somerset and the rest of Dorset beyond Poole to tap into. Now, we tap into those areas and Somerset. We could bring in so many new fans and build this club up. And that is part of the plan at this football club now, is to attract more.
Our plan, we've got a big stadium, but we just need to refurbish it, don't we, Andy? Let's talk about some team news, because you're playing Man United. We've heard the history now, and I was, I know everything to do with Bournemouth right now, But really, that's a great story, honestly, over the last few years. That was a great, great story to come back, and you're now representing and punching above your weight, considering the size of your stadium as well. So, Andy, team news for tomorrow. Obviously, Garnacho started the other day. Rashford's back. Do you think Rashford should start?
Oh, without a doubt. I mean, having a Lions and having snoozes and having stayed in bed if that's the way to go to be a winner, I'm all for being a lazy bum on a Sunday morning. You can have a lazy day and you're late for training. I mean, they all had a laugh about it.
Andy, what's your thoughts on that, though? Do you think, because Rashford afterwards in the interview was kind of laughing, chuckling about it, but do you like that from the manager? Do you think that's good discipline to see that?
Yeah, very good discipline. Very good discipline, because last season they were getting away with murder. All them players, they were getting away with murder. Best mate, best mate, do this, do that. No, there was no discipline. There was no structure in the dressing room. Accountability. There was nothing there. And it's discipline, and that's all you ask for. Be professional, be disciplined in any football club. And I'm sure Bournemouth's got that as well. That's where they are now. They're in the Premier League. So it's just discipline and following the rules, and you'll reap the rewards.
In other news, we got, I think, Martinez is back from his World Cup success. Dalot's coming back from an injury. We want to go be careful with him. And Scott McTominay's back as well. All these guys have been back. I haven't heard much about Lindelof. Any news? Have you heard anything on the grapevine there, Andy, about Lindelof?
Oh, no, it's been very quiet with Lindelof. I think he's had a quiet. He didn't have a World Cup, did he? And he's just easing his way back in. But like I say, every player is vital now. We can't afford to let anybody go out on loan. We've got to stay injury free. Games are coming thick and fast now. We've got Tuesday, we've got Friday night, then we've got a Carabao Cup match, potential semi-final if you think beyond that. But then we've got City and Arsenal. We've got games coming thick and fast, lad. And that's the way you want it.
Andy, last point. Sancho, talk to me about this. What do you know anything? What's been going on with Sancho? Why he was away? Apparently, he's back now with training.
Yeah, Sancho went away. He went to training camp, didn't he, in Holland on the advice of Ten Hag, and he had his own trainers and he was training. I think he's at a sports facility, a little mini ground.
Okay.
And he's had personal issues on and off the pitch. Shut down all his social media going forward, and he's back at Carrington now. Is it too soon to bring him back? I would say look at him maybe for the Charlton game, ease him back in, but it's too soon this week. Have a week of training and put him back into the squad, get the feel of the squad again. He might be doing it this week as well. Just be part of the squad, train with the squad, an arm round him. Sancho's like his best mate as well. Rashford's one of his good friends as well. And all you need is just love. Just put an arm around him, like, mate, you're one of us, mate. I mean, look what Ten Hag has done with De Gea, Luke Shaw, Rashford. He's there, mate. There's players in there. You probably still got to work on Martial still, but it's good that Sancho's back, and it might be the difference between not going for a loan player at the end of the January, and he could just come on song.
So you were buzzing, obviously, about the development and the manager's showing with certain players and attitude as well as playing ability, just attitude as well. Just a few comments here. Dallo, Box saying, is Dallo, Martinez, McTominay, Sancho fit? I think we just covered that. Emma's saying, Rashford woke up and knew he effed it. Brush, how you doing, Brush? We're going to come back to you with Craig on this one. He said Taverner's still out. If so, good news for us. Tiny little player. We're going to come back to that in a sec. Sancho back, obviously, he's from Adil. Ollie was too soft, as we were saying earlier. That's from the Zoe Media House. And fair play to Ten Hag. Showed proper authority, said Paul Tierney. And Rashford here would play for free at United. No way he's ever leaving, not if he can help it. So just going to Brentford team news. I don't know much about the players. Just want to give a quick rundown on what's happened at the club. Tavernier, Brush is asking about him.
I believe he should be hopefully fit. Whether or not he gets a nod, I'm not so sure. We do have either Mark Travers or Neto in goal. Neto has been out for an injury, with an injury for some time. Used to play for Barcelona, of course. He has been the better of the two goalkeepers. Travers, of course, did a very, very good job in the Championship. I think his confidence was knocked completely after that 9-0 Liverpool defeat, and Gary O'Neill, one of his first decisions was to replace him. So I'm hoping Neto's back, because I think he will go straight back into the team. With regards to the defensive positions, I think we'll probably start with Chris Metham. I believe he will be fit for this game. And what that would mean is Senesi moves across to the left side of that centre defence partnership, and Metham does come in instead of Lloyd Kelly. But otherwise, we've got Jordan Zamora and Jaden Anthony. Both of those will be fit.
Sorry, these are guys you're saying to look out for. Jordan Zamora and Jaden Anthony, yeah?
Yeah, Jordan Zamora, left-hand side and left midfielder is Jaden Anthony. And then I reckon on the right-hand side, if Tavernier's not fit, I think we'll probably play Christie. And he got a little bit of a knock on Saturday against Crystal Palace, but I think he should be okay. Kiefer Moore, Solanke up front. Solanke's been very, very good. And the midfield.
It's not just about goals, is it? I mean, his contribution physically, he's a bit of a handful, isn't he? Solanke and Kiefer Moore.
He is. Yeah. They complement each other quite well. Of course, Kiefer Moore is the big target man. He's very good at bringing the ball down for Solanke. Solanke will track back a little bit more, make things happen. So those two, I think, they will get goals. I think we probably in this window do need to get another striker which offers something a little bit different.
Yeah, they're quite
Don't think
similar, aren't
Jamal Lowe's.
Join the club, mate. We're in the same boat.
Yeah, I just think Jamal Lowe, even though he's an honest professional, I don't think he's probably cut out to in the Premier League. There's a couple of players at Bournemouth like that. One of them I think might be Ben Pearson, Emi Marcondes as well. So I think it'll be an interesting window for us, but I think, hopefully that gives you a little bit of insight into our squad. There's no real fresh injury concerns. Kiefer Moore did have a little bit of a knock, but I think he should be okay.
To be honest, from my point of view, and no disrespect, out of all the clubs in the Premiership, I'd be hard for me to name like 7, 8, 9 Bournemouth players at the moment. How do you feel, Andy? I mean, does anyone stand out to you from Bournemouth?
I mean, I'm no disrespect. I don't quite follow on Bournemouth's results. I know they've had after that 9-0 Liverpool, they had an instant bounce, didn't they? I know they won at Nottingham Forest as well. They were quite convincing.
Yeah, we was 2-0 down, and then we actually come back in the second half. After that 9-0 defeat, what Gary O'Neill did, of course, was get the best result possible, which was a 0-0 draw, a clean sheet against Wolves. Yes, it was only Wolves, but it was good to keep that clean sheet and tighten things up, give those players a bit more confidence, because we've got those youngsters inside who, Scott Parker's comments would have knocked them for 6. And Scott Parker, that's why he got fired. I spoke on the way back from Liverpool. Unfortunately, I was at that game. Unfortunately, our driver was a bloody Liverpool fan as well. That didn't help. That was painful. But I spoke to Robbie Savage and Chris Sutton on the way back. And my honest opinion was he had to go there and then. He got us out the Championship. They was like, well, you got to give him funds. You've got to give him time. With Bournemouth, we're not, at that point, we didn't know about the ownership. I can't be expected to spend the likes of what Nottingham Forest have. I think they're gambling big time. If they go down, what are they going to do?
I mean, I also seen you give Tottenham a game. You were 2-0 up, and you were absolutely on fire for 70 minutes, and you just run out of legs.
And we did the same against Leeds as well. We were 3-1 up against them and
I know,
just completely capitulated.
It's just getting into them positions and seeing it out. That's what it is. And I will not underestimate Bournemouth tomorrow. No way.
Looking at going into the game, I mean, you've lost 6 of your last 7, which ain't great form in the Premiership.
No.
Sort of suggests you're going in the Premiership, but sort of going to the relegation zone. But you're not actually there yet. You're 16th in the league and just outside and holding on. As you know, on the Man United agenda, when we do pre-match games, sort of shows and all that, we do the Solo 11. Solo's the main boss around here, and he's put a team together that he suggests will be the one to get the win against Bournemouth. Andy, can you take us through this? Look through the lineup. Anything you want to critique here?
No, I would say that is a quite strong, a fluent Man United, and why changing winning formula? De Gea, you got Varane, Martinez is back as well, looking good. Luke Shaw going back to his original position after his little cameo in the other role he played. Wan-Bissaka playing well. Food for thought for Ten Hag. And Casemiro and Eriksen, that's a great midfield three. And Anthony, though, maybe Garnacho. I'll give Garnacho because Anthony's he should have scored Saturday. Mind you, Anthony Martial should have scored as well. So
I think Box here agrees with you, Andy. He's saying I'll start Garnacho instead of Anthony. But when you say that, where would you put them? Would you put Rashford on the right and Garnacho on the left? What are you saying here?
I would switch him round and see where it goes from there. Try the first half, and if that doesn't work out, switch back and bring Anthony on. Anthony was injured at the World Cup as well, so he's just coming back. He should have scored the last week against Nottingham Forest as well. Yeah. It was a great save. You can't deny from the keeper, but Anthony needs game time, so everyone's going to play a part in this, and everyone's going to. It's a big night with what's going down at the Emirates as well with Arsenal, Newcastle. So this is a big chance to go even third.
Andy, can I
So
get your thoughts on Wan-Bissaka? Because he's obviously come back. He's played last couple of games. I mean, a lot of people were saying he needs to go in January. Dallow's injured. He's been playing in the World Cup, playing really well. He's clearly our number one. But what are your thoughts on that Wan-Bissaka? Do you think he's getting his confidence back? Would you keep him for now?
yeah, I would actually, because he's give everything in the last few games, and he's actually playing. He's got his head down. He's working hard. I know he played in the friendlies in is it Cadiz and Real Betis. Didn't look good at all. Heavily criticised over the last 18 months. Didn't get from attitude. I don't know. Ten Hag said he didn't want to know, but now he's giving, like I say, food for thought and maybe playing his way into Ten Hag's plans. Maybe you know what I mean. This lad, I've given him a chance. He's playing again. And games are coming thick and fast. Who knows? He may get moved on in the summer, but we've got games coming up thick and fast. There's FA Cup, there's Carabao Cup, Manchester Derby. I don't know. Are you? But he's going to play a part in the coming. I would keep him till the end of the season and go from there. And if he's part of a successful side, you got to look again, haven't you? So what's going to happen with the future? New owners, new ideas, new players. So the future's looking good for Man United because I think 2023, the players are actually don't let this chance slip. If you've got a chance of doing something today, this season for any of them players.
Big shout there, Andy. Craig, it's not for you to talk on Man United, but we'd like you just to have a quick, briefly. What do you think about this squad here? What do you any concerns for you? And you were saying about Gary O'Neill's very sort of diligent. Where would you see any sort of weaknesses, or where do you see our threats?
To be honest, there's threats all over the team because
thank you.
When you look at and Erik ten Hag is the first manager since Sir Alex Ferguson who I think is getting things completely spot on at Manchester United. For too long, I think Moyes would have done well. I think when Ferguson left the club, the side was getting quite a lot older and he had to make quite a lot of changes. But this is a side which has got real quality. I think where we will target Man United the most, we'll try and get around in the midfield. But I think Jadon Anthony will give Bissaka a little bit of a difficult time during this game. Of course, Jordan Zamora will be right behind him. He does push up as well. So I think, that's probably where I would say we'll probably have most success.
Yeah, because Wan-Bissaka, like I say, he can have a lapse in concentration. That's his weakness. He can switch off for a second, and if you go past him, you got a chance of putting the ball in the box. So yeah, sort of a weakness. Yeah, definitely. And if it's a weakness, you got to try and utilize it.
Just going to go through a few comments here quickly. Box is saying, is Juan Turabi starting? I don't know.
That's a long time ago. That is. I've heard that name. But yes, he's no longer here. And that's
Russell Beardsmore still at your place scouting.
Oh, sorry,
Russell Beardsmore. Is he still on the? Is he still there?
I don't think he is. I don't think he is. But don't quote me on that. But yeah, I don't think he is.
Working in the community last time I seen that. He's all right. Russell.
He's a ledge, United ledge. MLK saying here, dead. She's laughing. The fact that Bournemouth got a player called Jadon Anthony. How many Anthonys are going to be on the pitch? Ed Deal saying, isn't Solanke a good number 9? Is that a statement or you're asking? Rush is saying here, imagine Elanga, Martial, Anthony start, and Eric yells, Tony, go long! All these Anthony's on the pitch. Want to say hi to Football Nation podcast. How you doing? Welcome to the Man United agenda. Zoe here saying, imagine how many players we've signed since Sir Alex Ferguson suffered depression. Since Sir Alex Ferguson have suffered depression, but didn't have Erik ten Hag to recognise it. So she's praising Ten Hag for what she's doing, how he's dealing with the players here. Lloyd Kelly looks like a very good player, says Paul Turney. I think he's the captain. I follow Bournemouth a bit. As goalie, Traviers is a fellow Irishman, and we both have an Anthony Bournemouth quality one. Go ahead.
Just a quick one on that. Lloyd Kelly was very, very poor against Crystal Palace, and that's why I think Metham will start. It seems like when Lloyd Kelly's playing, Senesi moves across into the right-hand side of the centre-back position. And to be honest, I know it's only one slight move across, but he just doesn't seem to be able to do that. In the left side of that centre-back pairing with Metham, he's really good. But Lloyd
Metham's
Kelly's
from
pass,
Brentford, isn't he? He's a Welsh international.
he is,
He's done
yeah.
really well. Yeah, he was in the World
Yeah,
Cup recently.
but I
So
think Lloyd Kelly, personally, there's a good player still in there, but his passing was atrocious against Palace.
and you do play out from the back. You do sort of play a passing
We
game. It's
do,
traditional.
yeah.
It's Don Howe's son. I mean, Eddie was there. Full
Yes.
turn here talking about Lloyd Kelly. Thanks for the update. Emma is saying I would use Garnacho as an impact sub, though. He's usually done good job coming on and causing havoc when it's his time to come on. Brush, how you doing, Brush? Not a fan of Rashi on the right, but he's full of confidence at the moment, so anything goes. He scored a few goals for England on the right. Stumpy Can at the top is saying the back four should remain the same. Obviously, we saw the back four from Solo's 11. That's Luke Shaw, who's been playing centre back. Martin is back in. Varane and Wan-Bissaka. One question from Adil. You still haven't fired away. Oh, he's asking here, why isn't Casemiro playing the CDM? He will. It's just the graphics. Zoe saying, I think Anthony should be dropped after poor performance. That's followed up from what you were saying there, Andy, about his performance recently. Would you make sure permanent left-footed centre-back or buy one in the summer? That's a good question. And last one here, I'm just going to go to Shaw's played 2 games at centre-backs against relegation fodder in Forest and the other day. Calm your tits down, lads, he's saying there. All right, we're going to go to a prediction and wind up this show. You've been a great guest, Craig, but you're our enemy this week, unfortunately. You seem like a nice guy, but I'm going to predict that we're going to get a result. And I think there's a record going on here. If we get another clean sheet and win again, we haven't done this since maybe 2017. So it'll be 4th game in a row at home with a win and a clean sheet. And I'm going to say it's going to be a nice 2-0 win. I think you're going to set up well, try to contain us. But I think the quality will outshow. As we saw today against Liverpool, you have to earn the right to play. And if you win the physical battles, I think we've got the quality to beat you, unfortunately. And I do, because you're such a nice guy, I wish you well for the rest of the season. And hopefully we'll be on touch. Andy, prediction. And guys in the comments, predictions, please. Fire away, Andy. Let's do that.
Yeah, I'm going to go for a 2-0 win and just take it. Don't take your foot off the gas, United. If we get a chance to get chances, get a goal difference up, so be it. But I will comfortably take a 2-0. I will not underestimate Bournemouth. Not after what Brentford did tonight. I will not underestimate them. Believe me.
We've got a 2-0 here from Box. We've got a 2-0 from Paul Tierney. Sorry, Craig. We've got a 5-0 from Adil, who said he was a Bournemouth fan. I don't understand it. And Emma saying 5-0. We need it for goal difference. We've been really poor. 2-1 from Bill Badger. How you doing? UK Stranger saying 4-5-0. Wow, this is not good. And you can only beat what's in front of you. So Matthew Bassett saying 3-0. Over to you, Craig. I mean, do you ever bet against your team? I mean, you're coming to Old Trafford. You've played us in the Premiership 10 times. We've won 7. We've drawn 1, and you've beat us twice. I mean, what are the odds of you beating us again? Come on now.
Well, the heart, I always, if I go with the heart, I would love to get a result against Man United. However, I'm a realist. I think this is going to be a very, very difficult game. We're meeting with Man United at a time when you're in good form. And personally, I can't see us getting a victory. So I'm going to have to go. I think it's going to be tight, and I think Gary O'Neill will set up that way. I would say we'll probably be beaten 1-0.
1-0. That's a tight game. We don't want that.
Yeah, I think we will set up to keep it tight and try and nick something on the break.
On Saturday did the same. So, you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, that's true.
One moment decides a game, so I'm not going to underestimate anybody.
We've got 6-0 here from Zoe Media House. Sorry, it's just very unusual. It's looking at these big scorelines and a deal saying, okay, he's going to give the scorelines as well. Just a couple of players. Lewis Cook, I always thought he was a good young player. What happened to him? Is he injury prone? Because he came from Leeds, didn't he? And I thought that was a good signing. I was a bit surprised he went there. And another one I want you to talk about quickly is Sheffield United left-footed Brooks. I thought he was going to be a starlet, but is that injuries again? Are these two players that just have failed to make the cut due to injury?
starting off with Lewis Cook. Lewis Cook did play against Crystal Palace. He was one of the better players on the pitch. For some reason, Gary O'Neill did hook him off the pitch. So that was a little bit disappointing on Saturday. But he is injury prone. There is quite an interesting story actually on the official YouTube channel this time, not mine. I can't take credit for this one, but where it talks about his career and he's coming back from some quite nasty injuries. So definitely take a watch of that. But he's a good player. He's a good player, and I reckon
I rate him.
he,
I rate him. And
he might
Brooks,
get a nod.
Bob was
Um,
saying here, Brooks has got cancer, testicular cancer. He's cured now, I think.
Yes, he's got the all clear, thankfully. In fact, that actually happened the same day that we actually was promoted to the Premier League, that win
Yeah.
against Nottingham Forest. But yes, he the last game that Brooks had, I believe going back, it was against Luton. It was a victory against Luton. He didn't really play particularly very well. And we was a little bit confused because he was always very, very consistent. And then this awful news come out. And I've seen David in person as well, and he has lost a lot of body weight. He he has tried to get back up to fitness. Unfortunately, he had an injury around September time, which has set back that. But the main thing is he's got the all clear. Are we going to see him this season? He's got to be dictated to by his body, and do what's right for him. So hopefully we will do. We'd
I'm
absolutely
sure
love to
you
see
will.
him
I'm
back
sure
on.
he'll play again for you.
Oh,
No
I
doubt
think he will
about that.
play for the club again, but whether or not we'll see him this season, I'd love to see him this season, but
He's
I
got
don't.
age on his side. He was a good talent, that's for
He
sure.
is,
Even Man United were interested in him,
yeah,
weren't they, Andy? Like a couple of years ago
Yeah,
when
yeah,
he
yeah.
was
If
at
you're
United.
young, you've got the energy, you've got the determination, and he'll be back. I'm sure he will.
yeah, I hope so.
And hopefully you'll be back, Craig, because we're going to wind it up now. Just, Craig, I
Will
want
do.
you, this is your moment, man. I
Go
want
for
all
it.
the Man United Agenda fans watching now. There's 34 in the comments. Craig's been wonderful. I want Craig to big up and write this down, say it slowly. We're going to big up your channel, and we're all going to go and subscribe to your channel and support you because you've been such a nice guest. Usually we're bumping heads with people, going head to head with them. But, I actually like you.
Yeah.
I hope you
Likewise,
don't think
mate.
that badly. Yeah. So just tell us about your channel. Say it slowly so everyone can write it down and go and seek it out and subscribe on YouTube.
Okay, so if you search for UTC IAD on YouTube, that's up the cherries in all departments. You'll be able to find us. Like I say, we've got lots of interviews. We've got opposition preview shows. We do a reaction show. We do a watch along sometimes for our sins, which is gets a little bit crazy at times. But yeah, there's loads of stuff on there, and the 3 videos I would suggest, and please do go and watch them to find out more about our story: the Eddie Mitchell interview, and also the 2 videos with Trevor Watkins. But if you want to find out about Harry, we've had Harry on twice. We've also had Steve Cook, Steve Fletcher. There's loads of stories about this rags to riches, but those 3 videos, so 2 with Trevor Watkins, 1 with Eddie Mitchell, are the ones to watch. So it's UTC IAD.
Go and check it out, guys. You've been a brilliant guest. Andy,
Thank you
any
so much.
questions before we wind it out for our wonderful guest, Craig, here?
Do you think you will stay up?
Good one.
Bill Foley says that we're not getting relegated. And he seemed very, very confident considering we're a newly promoted side. If you look at what he's done at the Vegas Golden Knights, and this was a new franchise, he took ice hockey into the desert, which is the polar opposites. What he's done there is he's taken a new franchise and got them near the Stanley Cup. I'm not an ice hockey man, but I know that is the top that you can get to. It's like
Yeah,
winning the
that's like the
Premier
Premier League,
League.
isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't think he's going to mess around. I think he'll spend the money. I think he'll do things the right way and spend it sensibly. I think if the club was to be in any danger whatsoever of going down, I think there'd be a few heads rolled, and I think he would make the changes before it's too late. So I'm going to go yes. If you had asked me before this takeover, I would have said 17th would have. And to be honest, 17th is still a successful season for us in my eyes. I don't think Bill's going to settle for that. I don't think he wants to leave it to go to the last day of the season like Leeds did last year.
Not like the game against Grimsby where he could have gone out of the league.
Exactly.
He's probably going through that again.
No, I don't think he'll go to that. I don't think he'll want to risk any of because remember, we had the Hawkeye situation, which effectively relegated us last time round, and COVID. He's not going to leave it to chance with that. So I'm going to say yes. And I think probably 16th. The teams that will finish below us, Everton, Southampton, and Wolves in the bottom three, and Nottingham Forest just below, but safe.
I think you may be right. I do see Bournemouth staying up, and I see Forest going down. I see Everton struggling, maybe even Leeds, Wolves maybe going down as well. So, yeah, but I definitely see Bournemouth staying up and going from there and see where trying to establish it, trying to be that team you was from 2014 going through to 2020. Just stay constant.
Well, hopefully, if we get past Burnley, in the FA Cup, we could be playing each other quite soon again in the fourth round of the FA Cup, because there is no hope in hell, and they played 2 games against us recently, of Everton getting anywhere near Manchester United in that game. In fact, they're the poorest team I've seen all season.
Guys, 29 watching. Don't forget to tune into Craig's channel. That's UTCIAD and up the cherries, as they say. Box is saying, good guess, very articulate. Yes, I totally agree. Rebel saying it's going to be 1-0 to Man United. Want to say hi to MUFC Brummy Reds, saying 3-0 to United. Big up. Pat Lawless in the house. He's saying 2-0 United. We will be on the reaction show tomorrow night with Pat Lawless. Vincent, a few questions here. Asking, is Andy going to the game? There's 2 people asked. Who else is it? And UK Strange. Andy, you go to the game tomorrow, home at Old Trafford?
Yes, I am. I'm going with my old man. So, yeah, I'm taking my old man. All them times he took me as a kid, I'm returning the favour now. So, yeah, I'm going with my dad. And hopefully 3 points for the Reds. And we go on.
17th successful season, says UK Strange. Rebel saying Bournemouth will be okay. Everton, Southampton, at least one other are worse than them. Bill Badger saying you can loan Phil Jones and Maguire if you want any help out there. And Leeds could sink, says Rebel as well. So on that note, we're going to sign out now. This has been the preview show between Man United and Bournemouth. We play tomorrow night. Big game. Make sure you tune in. Make sure you watch the watch along as well with Talk MU and Mr. B. They'll be going at it, discussing the game. Andy will be at the game as well. Andy, I'd love to see one of your post-match reviews when live with all that energy as you come out the stadium, if you don't mind, please.
As if I will, I'll try one if I can get a bloody mobile signal outside that stadium. Believe me, as soon as you get past Hotel Football, you cannot get a signal for love or money.
And can we get your dad to get some insight from your dad as well, please?
Pardon?
Can we get some insight from your dad if he's watching the game as well?
Oh, yeah. I'll try and get some insight of my dad. I saw my dad tonight. He wasn't very happy. There's no money. You know what I mean?
MFC probably Red
Team. That first half. That's what the old guys say, innit? But, yeah, he was happy with one.
Guys, MUFC Brummy Reds, if you see Andy up there, give him a wave for the old Man United agenda. He's saying 45 of us are travelling up from the mighty Brum tomorrow to watch the mighty Reds. And big up to the panel, says Red Devil Studios. Go and check out his channel as well. He's doing big things as well. So on that note, we're going to sign out. Craig, thank you so much for joining us. We're doing a reaction show tomorrow. If you're welcome to come on that, just speak to Errol, and we're going to sign out, guys. But from Andy, from Craig, and myself, I'm Money Juma. We'll be back tomorrow for a live watch along, and plenty more to come. If we win, we'll be celebrating. Come on, top 4 later.